Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
It's fast, it's slick, it's higher grade. It's also backbiting, snide, sly, backstabbing, and inherently vicious. The nastiest stock-picking show on television. Welcome to Share Shootout. I'm Bruce Whitfield. You're watching CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. Now, is it true that Twitter created over 1,000 millionaires on the day it listed? And is it true that Glencore listed on the JSE only to take proceeds back to London? Was Atul Gupta pushed, or did he jump, or did he buy, or did he sell? We don't know the answers to these puzzling questions. What we do know is we got a really tall guy and a former KGB agent in our wings. Introducing the champion, he's been here 9 times. He's had 6 wins and 3 losses. Gary, I'm still waiting to identify the best man, Booysen from Vunani Private Clients. He takes on the challenger, Sasha. I read Harry Potter in my spare time, Naryskhine. Okay, the house rules for the show. You can explain yourself in a second. Each of our guests have pre-picked 3 shares. Neither knows what the other holds, but each must accept at least one of their competitor stocks. The longer they leave it, the more likely they are to have to accept something they don't like. They've each got 30 seconds, and 30 seconds only, to argue their stock pick. And now that you know the house rules, why are you reading a Harry Potter book at the moment?
It's Harry Markopoulos.
Who's Harry Markopoulos? Harry Potter sounds far more.
He's the whistleblower who exposed Bernie Madoff.
Okay, actually that would be
So he's slightly more important than the guy with the Z on his forehead.
This is true. Okay, so he's got an X on his forehead.
Well, he used to. No, he was really worried. He used to wander around with a shotgun, check under his car for bombs. I mean, that's how worried he was about the ineptness of the SEC.
He's American, is he?
He's a Greek American. Yeah.
Okay, that's paranoid. And you still haven't got a best man, Gary?
No, not
Well, we're available.
We're available. Well, therefore
you guys look very nice in suits.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, I'm in a suit.
Bruce can speak.
There we go. I can say, don't do it. What's her name, incidentally?
Pascal.
Don't do it, Pascal. Don't do it, Pascal. Yes, I'm out of it. All right, now, let's go. 30 seconds each. Gary. Interesting list of picks this evening. There's a bit of fresh meat on the block tonight as well. Sasha, Naryskhine, yours are more boring. So let's start with Gary. Okay, Gary Booysen from Vunani Private Clients. Tell me why it is, in a couple of weeks since Vodacom has published its results, you're going for the main rival, MTN. 30 seconds.
Oh, we like both stories. MTN obviously a little bit more risky. So today I've got quite a risky portfolio overall. Obviously it's got the Africa exposure. It's got more access to growth. I mean, we chatted about before. In Kenya, guys will literally give up a meal or walk 5Ks right to save bus fare just to buy airtime. The demand is out there in Africa, and MTN is exposed to it, and I think ready to take advantage.
There we go. Within his 30 seconds, I'm going to fill the airtime while the gong plays.
There's a lot more time.
You only used about 18 seconds.
We can carry on talking about.
Confident.
About his wedding.
Yeah. That's the shortest brief we've ever had. I think we should make him the winner and all go home. Sasha, you at one point, and I don't know if you still are, were the world's biggest cheerleaders for MTN at Invicta.
So Invicta, yes. We've owned them since...
6 rand.
No, not quite. Wish.
15.
About 12.
Okay.
So, and still hold them. I mean, I remember where people used to say, oh no, you must own Telkom, it's got a better dividend yield. Well, just remind me what Telkom paid last time. No, nothing.
Well, MTN for a long time didn't pay anything.
Exactly.
And it has started now that growth has slowed a little bit.
So maybe that indicates a shift towards, but I have to go with Gary's pick. I don't know what the other 2 are, but he said they're risky. So
they're adventurous rather than
they're
risky.
adventurous. I don't think MTN's risky. And 2 interesting little snippets of news over the last 2 days. One, they've teamed up in their payments mobile money thing with Visa, where you'll be able to go to basically any Visa merchant and be able to draw money. So that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And then Hello Doctor, where you'll be able to...
please.
No, I think it's...
Spare me a diagnosis on that one.
Okay, well, text me then, Bruce.
No, I'm sorry. What does a doctor
you had a
go
cough
to do?
just before we started. I'll say, Bruce, you must go and take some cough mixture.
Exactly. Or go and see a doctor is what the prognosis is going to be.
I don't. You got this one wrong. You're just showing your age here, Bruce.
Explain.
Because everyone will move towards smartphones. Data is becoming increasingly important. The other day, I had a problem on Box Office. And believe it or not...
Where is Box Office on your body? Sorry.
Come on, Bruce. Box Office. Yes. And that's the Naspers multi-choice video thing. And believe it or not, I communicated with someone just typing to them on like an interface, a WhatsApp type interface, and my problem was solved.
Look, I completely accept the theory that at some point I'm going to go and it's going to give a reading, and
this
there's
is
going
the
to be
start,
there's going to
Bruce.
be a prognosis on the other side. Again, so much of what MTN has done in the past, mobile money, for example, 10, 15 years ahead of its time, it chews a lot of cash for a long period of time before it
But
actually
you've got
becomes
the
useful.
infrastructure, you've got the network, they're still spending a lot.
Yeah.
Gary and I will go with this one, Bruce.
Yeah.
You will go on this
go
one.
with this, yeah.
Oh, they're
It's made
against
great
me.
arguments for me.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I don't even
Ga-
need to tell you about the
Ga-
cost saving
Ga-
and the
Gary does
improved network quality.
Gary does a sales pitch in 12 seconds and you just go fall over and wet yourself. Okay, that's fine.
great.
I'm sure you can take a pill for that. Sasha Naryskhine from Vestact. I'm looking forward to this 100 billion rand explanation as to why you are still very keen not only on the food retail sector, but probably the best run, best managed, most Africa exposed. I'm trying to give you fewer things to say in your 30 seconds. Food retailer in South Africa, currently at war with Massmart over selling fresh fruit and veg on the Cape Flats.
Gary's got a good idea, I think.
I think he knows you're picking Pick and Pay. No, it's Shoprite.
Shoprite. Phew. I thought I got it
30
wrong.
seconds.
Bruce, I think, for the all aforementioned things, so whilst growth in South Africa is slowing, I wouldn't say we're becoming a more mature market. It's just things to come beyond our borders. And they're still at early stages. People think their Africa exposure, which is growing at 30% per annum, is a big part of their business. It's still a relatively small part of their business. And that is why I think the market affords it a much higher multiple. So whilst we might see pretty slow growth over the next 2 to 3 years, you might see the share price rally even more in anticipation of more earnings. I'm using up some of Gary's time.
Well, he gave you an extra
Yeah.
15 seconds. He banked it. Here's Shoprite. I think it's an interesting pick, and I like the Africa story. I think it's what 15% of Shoprite is
Correct.
probably earnings from outside of South Africa.
And less than around 10% of the
Okay.
stores. Yeah.
All right, Gary, you got to like Shoprite.
Yeah, I do like Shoprite. It is expensive.
It's the Mutual
at the
Admiration
moment.
Society on Share Shootout, backbiting as a toothless person eating candy floss.
Definitely. I mean, Shoprite's quality company. I mean, you look at the latest SARF survey. I mean, you can see that especially, I mean, the South Africa exposure. I mean, you're seeing you guys moving into the middle class LSM, and I mean, they're going to go and shop at Shoprite. So, I think
I shop at Shoprite.
yeah, I mean, there's a new Checkers opened by my store. I mean, it's really premium these days. I mean, it's beautiful stores. I mean, the rollout is going very, very, very well. Opening a lot of new stores. I mean, the Africa, that's a little bit more iffy for me because they've been trying that for a long time and not.
But they're
not
the guys
expanding
who've
as
made
quickly.
it work best. We saw Woolies recently pulling out of Nigeria. You must be joking. We can't make money in Nigeria. Off they scrambled. Shoprite has been there. It continues to stay there and continues to do business.
But after all this time, it's still not this massive money spender.
No.
It's still not a huge chunk of their revenue. So
Standard Bank has had African businesses for 20 years. Conrad Strauss started both. But absolutely, but that's my
Yes.
point. I'm
Yes.
not disagreeing with you.
Okay.
For once.
I thought you always shout
so
at me.
paranoid.
That was the line. Yeah.
No, but Conrad Strauss started buying Africa businesses for Standard Bank more than 20 years ago. And it's a building block process. It takes enormous
Gary
courage.
and I are not
enormous
that
faith.
old, Bruce. Yeah.
Well, I read it in a history book. Standard Bank came out with 150 years of Standard Bank history. You should
yes.
read it. You'll
I
learn something.
will.
I'm assuming you're accepting Shoprite.
Yes.
All right, you're accepting Shoprite. The Mutual Admiration Society.
I'm definitely accepting.
You're accepting Shoprite, which then takes us on to the next one. Gary's accepting Shoprite. Sorry, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you now. Gary Booysen, I'm interested in your pick number 2 this evening. I haven't seen the share code on the JSE before. That's because it only came onto the JSE last week. It's a company called Glencore Xstrata.
Yesterday.
Hey? No, this last
last
week.
week,
You've
yeah.
got your time references all
Sorry,
messed
Bruce.
up.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll go stand in the corner.
Exactly. That would be nice. With a muzzle. Glencore Xstrata in 30 seconds, Gary.
Glencore, obviously, it's the third now big diversified miner. It's more diversified than Billiton and Anglo. It's also got that key, it doesn't have the iron ore component in it, which is fairly exciting for us because we still think that the iron ore, the margins on iron ore are unsustainable and they're going to come off a little bit. So we like its exposure. Obviously, new listing, and I think it's going to take a lot of probably the investment demand for the likes of Anglo, who I think 46% of Anglo's register is held in South Africa. I think that's going to shift into Glencore. So I think a nice opportunity for Glencore and nice for South African investors to know another major player.
There we go. You can't say no.
Of course I can say no.
You can say no, but we then argue with you.
Yes, and I'm going to say there's lots of, they got over 4 times the revenue of BHP Billiton, okay, but yet they only make, I think it's like 1/10 of the profits. So what does that tell you? There's a lot of trading activity
Yes.
inside of there, and granted, these guys are the best at it. You know, the CEO, who's a South African, Champion Walker,
Ivan Glazenberg. He does that walking where
he's very good. Yeah, he challenges his family to runs as well. You know, those stories are too colourful to tell on air.
But although he, David Shapiro, and a bunch of other people went for a running race
At Old Parks, yes.
At Old Parks, and he was beaten by Sonia Laxton.
Yeah, I saw her running the other day at the Spa 10 ladies. She was smoking people half her age.
Exactly.
Including my wife. Yeah, I wasn't able to keep up. Yeah.
There we go.
But
so you send your wife to running races. Okay, good. You're courageous.
I mean, I think the trading part of the business is the one that worries me because you're prone to earnings volatility. And I think in terms of tier one quality,
what differentiates and makes it exciting.
Yeah, and Gary's point is well made about the iron ore market, but because a lot of people put in a lot of production, the floor on those production costs is a lot higher than what it used to be. So big businesses like Fortescue are unprofitable at around $82, $81 a ton. So, imagine a business like that having to fall over.
Let's let Gary defend himself just on the trading, the vulnerability of Glencore to its trading business, which is clearly a very important part of it.
Yeah, no question. I mean, they've already. I mean, it is shifting more from less of a trading company to more an industrial, actual mining company. But I mean, you can also make the argument that the trading is what gives it its market intelligence. That's what gives it its edge. I mean, it's obviously across a lot of different commodities. I mean, even corn. There's small agriculture component, and I mean that trading activity gives it the opportunity to go and make those acquisitions. And I think it's going to be fairly acquisitive. I mean, but there's no question. This, like I said earlier, this is a risky portfolio. So I mean, I actually, I want to see some massive trading profits. I mean, also remember it's more highly geared than BHP. I think it's about 5-to-1 debt to EBIT. Whereas BHP is only 1-to-1. So it is a more risky play. But that's exactly why we're buying it, because we're looking for that outperformance.
One word for you. It sounds like two words, but it's one word. It's about 2006, 2007. The word is First Rand. Prop trading nearly killed First Rand. Isn't this
and they didn't want to talk about it.
They didn't want to talk about it. Would you want to talk about it? The Seven Oaks at Seven Oaks, who burned them really badly. Is there not a Glencore, a First Rand style prop trading risk with Glencore?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a prop trading risk, but I think it's very different from a First Rand prop trading model. Or I mean, you're trading. You're a commodity trader. It's not sitting and hitting guys on screen trying to make small profits. I mean, these guys have the relationships to trade commodities. I mean, one of the sort of saving graces for that is if their earnings do turn down, I mean, they're going to have a lot of inventory on stock that they can then use to obviously sell off and shore up the balance sheet. So I think on the balance of it, yes, it is more risky. I've already said it is more risky, but that's why we like it, because at the same time, that's where you can get huge supernormal profits.
There we go, from the heady heights.
Still prefer BHP Billiton.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, you're shooting it down?
For the game, yes. Yes, shooting it down. And I wouldn't like it normally. Wouldn't want exposure to more than one diversified miner.
Okay. And your diversified miner of choice would be BHP Billiton.
Correct.
BHP Billiton. Okay. Correct. Then let's go to a diversified burger maker, shall we? In 30 seconds, tell me why you like pizza, why you like hamburgers, and why you like coffee shops. Famous brands in 30 seconds.
Because everyone really likes these things, Bruce. So what is this business? This is basically a family-owned interest that passed on the baton to someone to run it professionally, who's then again passed on the baton to someone who's actually an internal appointment, been there for the better part of, as far as I can tell, a decade and a half. But for every unit of GDP growth you effectively get in casual dining, you get 3.5 units of growth. So that's why I like it, because it's essentially a sub-Saharan African growth story for consumers.
There we go. Now, in case you're wondering what on earth he's talking about, of course he's talking about the Halamandares and Halamandares families. Yes, there is a difference. Yes. Who handed over to Kevin Hedderwick as first the Chief Operating Officer, then the Chief Executive Officer. Kevin Hedderwick has now become the Chief Executive Officer for the group, and a guy called Darren Healy, who was running the Wimpy business, which Kevin Hedderwick bought about 12 years ago out of Pleasure Foods, is now the operational chief executive of all of the divisions.
See, I only had 30 seconds.
You only had 30 seconds, and I took another 30. So you're a big Famous Brands fan. It hit 10 billion rand in market cap just the other day. It's now trading around 9.7 billion. The market, I think, is worried about Mr. Big, which is the Nigerian business it's caught a minority stake in. It's a strategic change. And suddenly there's just a little bit of edginess around it. What do you think, Harry?
No, I mean, Mr. Biggs, I mean, they took 49% stake in that. I mean, Kevin Hedderwick, said that they would have loved to take the 51, but, that deal wasn't on the table. So they've already, they're not completely in control there. I mean, it's, I mean, Mr. Big, it's big. It's a big chain in Nigeria, and and I think it's going to be interesting to see how they operate it. I mean, we've seen, Woolies pulling out. I mean, Nigeria is not an easy place to operate in. So, I mean, there might be some risk there. On the balance of it, I mean, we do like famous brands. It is expensive. I mean, JSE trading on PE of what, 21.5? It's trading 28,
always
29.
trades.
I know it is expensive, but I mean, I know it is trading on a high multiple, and it always has. But I think there is some risk there. I mean, if they don't keep on growing earnings like they have been, and I mean, I think the foray into Africa is showing that they're getting the fast food chain market in South Africa is becoming more saturated. You've just had an entry with Burger King and Grand Parade. It's a very, very, very competitive market.
Yeah, but Burger King in 3 years will have 30 outlets at Sasol garages. It's not exactly in the demographic of what is it called, the Fisherway and Steers and Debonair's all stuck into one, and then occasionally you'll go off to a Tasha's and a Mug and Bean. You can't get a Burger King at the moment anyway, anywhere between Joburg and Cape Town if you're driving along the highway. You have to go to famous brands. You're kind of trapped and stuck in that particular rut.
Can always go to St. Elmo's.
Which is owned by Taste Holdings,
yes.
Which is a small and eager rival. You like it?
I do like it, but I'm going to shoot it down. I think for the purposes of the game.
Okay, for the purposes of the game.
Shoot it down, on the balance that I think the Mr. Biggs acquisition is very risky. I think it's done, with the company UAC. Yeah, so UAC, I mean, we like UAC as well, but and there might be synergy, but I think very difficult market, and maybe you're going to see a little bit of trouble there. I mean, a lot of people have gone into Nigeria and pulled out, and this could be the next one.
Let's test your general knowledge. Nando's pulled out of Nigeria because they couldn't get
just too hot
solid
for
chicken.
them.
It was too spicy.
Yeah.
Who is the Debonair's ambassador in India?
In India?
Yes, Debonair's has got a store in India, and they've appointed an ambassador to drive the brand into the Indian market. Who is that ambassador?
I don't know, I'd love to say Sachin Tendulkar. Maybe Virat Kohli.
Oh no, I do know this. Is it not John T. Rhodes?
It is John T. Rhodes.
Mumbai Indians, I wasn't far off.
But I mean, Kevin Hedderwick goes, okay, so who should we have? Should we have Sachin Tendulkar? Should we have any one of these guys? I said, no, you've got to have John T. Rhodes.
Yeah.
And so
John T. Rhodes is as big in India as any of the Indian players.
Took John T. Rhodes to India. He needed bodyguards because he was just swamped outside the Debonair shop.
But that's happened forever.
It has.
John T. Rhodes,
And now he's got pizza in his pockets.
That run out,
That one run out. You dive once with the ball. You trip over your own shoelaces and you happen to hit the stumps. How hard was that? Time for us to shoot off for a break. More share shootout on the other side of this. It's a slightly degenerate program this evening, but that's okay. Gary Booysen from Vunani Private Clients with MTN and Glencore Xstrata. MTN getting the Sasha Naryskhine thumbs up. Glencore Xstrata, however, too much risk, says Sasha Naryskhine in the trading portfolio, and he shot it down. Sasha Naryskhine from Best Act with Shoprite getting the thumbs up. Famous brand. Gary likes it, but he's playing dirty. That's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. Welcome back to Share Shootout in just a moment, and we'll talk to you on the other side of this. You're watching Share Shootout right here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. I don't know who's going to win this evening. It's going to be a tight fight because we got High Risk versus Mr. Pedestrian this evening. For the break, Sasha and Gary each gave us their stock picks. We'll dig into those in just a second. Sasha with Shoprite and Famous Brand. He's got an interesting number 3. And Gary with MTN and Glencore. Gary taking more risk on the table this evening. Sasha, you go first in this round. 8 billion rand market cap, a multiple of under 12, a dividend yield of 3.5%. What's Invicta do in 30 seconds?
Well, it's heavy-duty machinery, and also agricultural machinery, and all the associated parts that go along with it. Yes, I think it's long kind of an ignored segment of the market, but if you believe that the next big push is A, going to be agriculture, and B, be an infrastructural spend, no better than to buy the people who make the picks and the shovels in the gold rush, not so. So I think it's a fairly well-run business, a little bit of a management shift here with the BMG guy coming in to run the business and the other guy, deputy chairman. And let's not forget the major shareholder is?
Whom?
Christo Visa.
Okay.
He owns nearly 24% of
He does,
this thing.
doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay. But why Invicta as opposed to, say, I don't know, Bell Equipment or a Barloworld?
Yeah, maybe because it's, and I'm not going to use the word dumbed down equipment because I think that's unfair, but they're probably a little bit more nimbler. Plus, they have a great distribution network. I mean, it really is a very well-run business.
And at a 12 times multiple, it's probably the cheapest entry you can get into Crystal Visa.
Notwithstanding quite a big rally recently in the share price. So that multiple's up, I think, about 10% from its recent lows.
Gary, do you like Invicta?
I like the sector. And I do like Invicta. I think it's a good business, but I think it's like you said, the share price has run quite hard recently. I think if you're going to go with the smaller sort of machinery play, I mean, I would rather than go micro cap and go with Torre and go for tiny little 150 million rand crane business that can really expand. I mean, it's already been flagged as the next Invicta. So
okay, well, I mean that's an interesting point. Why not that? Why not that, Sasha?
Because they were SA French the last time around.
Okay. But Gary would rather. Gary's feeling risky today.
Yeah, so that's maybe more risky. But then I'd probably go with the picks and shovels. Maybe I'll bring Caterpillar Machinery and go with Barloworld instead.
Okay, but so you're shooting down Invicta.
I'll shoot it down.
Just remind me, Siberia and Iberia. Yes. How are things going in Russia? I know there was a GDP print of what? 1.2% last week. Yeah. And Spain, yeah.
Let him make his argument for Barloworld before you shoot it down. Okay, so you're shooting him down, Gary Booysen. Tell me in 30 seconds why you like Barloworld.
Barloworld, agreed. The analysts hate it. I mean, and that's we think it's a brilliant opportunistic play. I mean, Deutsche came out with a sell on it the same day as our Insta analyst came out with a buy on it. Looking at it, he said HEPS up in the next quarter about 18 to 20%. Everyone else minimum was about 12% up. Trading statement the other day, HEPS up between 20 and 30%. We're seeing a turnaround in South Africa and Africa already. I mean, Angola's growing. You mentioned Iberia, the costs, in last results, you've seen the cost base shrink dramatically. I mean, their loss has been halved there. So, I mean, looking a lot better. Time up.
Oh, but he had some seconds in the bank there.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Barloworld.
I thought you can just replay the last part.
We could.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do better this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe Gary's analyst should be the one everyone should be looking at. There's an analyst at Vunani who should be getting a few pats on the back, and there are a few at some. What's the other one you said?
Which one?
The one who came out with a sell?
Deutsche.
Oh, we don't want to point fingers. Yeah, do we, Bruce?
Okay.
Nah, just not exciting or sexy enough, and it's on pretty much sideways. And if I really want to be, like I said, Invicta for me is a far better investment opportunity than Barloworld.
What about the risks that Sasha points out, the issues about Siberia, the fact that there are these big headwinds facing Barloworld?
The headwinds, I think a lot of them are very cyclical. So like Russia, I mean, and Siberia at least, if you look at it, it's maintaining, expectations. It's not missing, there's no major problems there. I mean, what Barloworld did, it sold off all its sort of, trying businesses and got left with what is in a very, very efficient core that's left there. So, I mean, even though, like you mentioned, I mean, things are difficult in Europe and things are difficult in Russia, I mean, that will turn around eventually. I mean, it's a company that, right now, yes, 100%, it has gone through a very, very tough time, but you're looking for that turnaround story. This is a construction and heavy machinery, It's something that, guys will have to rebuy. And I think, looking at the mining in Siberia, it will pick up, and I think they're going to do well.
There's only one fellow taller than Gary, and he's that Prokhorov fellow. Doesn't he have a gold mine in Siberia, Polyus? He doesn't use technology. We should phone him and ask him.
We should ask him. The point is, you're shooting it down.
Yeah, no, I prefer Invicta.
Okay.
I'm using Gary's reverse argument.
No, absolutely right. So I've now got to make a call.
Yes.
As to who the winner is, and frankly, it's impossible. Right, let's try and work this out now. So what we've got from Gary Booysen for Vunani Private Clients is MTN, Glencore Xstrata, and Barloworld. 3 quality companies going through different stages of their life cycle. Glencore Xstrata recently listed on the JSE with lots of interesting potential but high risk. Sasha, Naryskhine from Vestac, Shoprite, Famous Brands, and Invicta. Producers, I need your guidance. Who should stay and who should go? Speak to me now or forevermore hold your peace. It's not my call. I would have booted Sasha, but the producers boot Gary I think it was a tie. I think it was unfair. I think it was wrong. But maybe we get Gary back to go against Sasha. Maybe we should have some big annual final. Maybe we should put all of the top players of this game against each other and with boxing gloves and blood. Real or not. We'll be back again next week. Sasha, you can come back again next week. I think we should have called at a time. We should have maybe all come back with micro caps to battle against each other. Maybe we'll make that the rules as we go into the finals of this year. So we'll put Sasha up against a worthy challenger this time next week. Tweet me your share shootout suggestions and your thoughts on @BruceBusiness. Tell me just what a bad guy Arabile is for kicking Gary off the show. And if you think that the show is better than the pink one, you then vote for us. What color are we? We're bluish. Okay, until next time on Share Shootout, where we pick out a winner and shoot out the rest. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back again next time. Bye-bye.